My eyes all excited about what might happen because I don't learn my lesson. I'll be excited next time because I always am. But no, it makes the come down and the crash even more disappointing, I think.
Well, when you leave, you can speak to the secretary and you can book yourself in for the next session.
Yes, if that's right. Yes, as our time up, right?
That's it. Well, we talk about Thomas Frank and the reaction from Van der Ven and Jed Spence, who have apologised to the manager after they did appear to ignore him walk down the tunnel following that defeat on Saturday.
I want to say sorry for the situation. They didn't want it to look bad or disrespectful or all kind of perception you can get in this beautiful media world. So that was not the intention at all towards me or the team or the club. They were just frustrated with the performance, the loss and the booing during the game.
Well, they were booed, and they were booed off at the end of the game because pretty much how poor Nick felt during that game and how poor they were with only one shot on target in the whole game. It means they've just won 3 in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium over the past 19 games across Ange Postecoglou's and Thomas Frank's reign. The one outstanding performer in there was goalkeeper Vicario, and he says that he can understand the disappointment shown by his 2 teammates.
At the end, of course, everyone was disappointed because we had already lost a London derby, so everyone was really frustrated. And we get the reaction of the fans at the end of the game. They can express their pain.
Well, Thomas Frank, again, the manager, spoke to the media before Tottenham's game in the Champions League. Yes, it's at home. It's against Copenhagen and they will be expected to win. But he says he's going to continue to protect his players.
Of course, I'm happy because I knew the question will come today, that they are coming in. And that means they care. And I think that's very good. They care about the team, the club. In this case, me. I'm happy with that. Then we just had a good talk about a lot of things. We will keep it internally. Like I said to the players, it will be very, very, very unusual if I ever throw a player under the bus.
Well, someone who's been listening to that, and probably not for the first time, and joining us now on the line is Tottenham fan and host of the At Spurs Chat pod, Chris Cowlin. Evening, Chris. Have you managed to calm down yet?
Well, I feel a bit like Nick, actually. I think that Nick has summed it all up absolutely perfectly. Of course, it was a very dull and dismal performance at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And as you guys have spoken about, the home record, certainly this calendar year hasn't been good enough. And, we need to turn that around. And, I just cannot understand how you can go into a London derby and just have one shot on target. And the XG was 0.05, the lowest ever recorded in a Spurs game. And that is not good enough. And Cucurella, as you mentioned, took out Mohamed Kudus, our most creative player. And I just feel like we are lacking real firepower and creativity in this side right now. And, funny enough, in the press conference after the game, Thomas Frank was asked, how can that happen? When you're chasing a game, you're 1-0 down at half time. How can you not have a shot in the second half? And that is the question I'm asking. And that's why so many people were unhappy. A real lack of creativity. And the fans were up for it. The fans were up for that game. Thomas Frank has asked the fans to be vocal, asked them to be singing. They were certainly behind the team. And we just expect a lot more. And I know we talk about league position. And a lot of people are saying where Spurs are in the table right now, 5th. Yes, we're 2 points away from 2nd, but we're also 2 points away from 11th place. So, puts things into perspective. But Nick sounds pretty down, so I want to give him a positive stat.
Oh, go on, please. Give us all a positive one, yeah.
I know that our league form isn't great, but in European competition, we are unbeaten in our last 21 home matches, 17 wins and 4 draws. So there's a positive stat.
Well, yeah, that is positive. That is going into a game against one that you're feeling you should win tomorrow night. That is here on BBC Radio London with the game tomorrow night, the coverage of that. But just going back to the weekend and looking at the lack of real punch within the attacking force within Tottenham, do you not think just a question about Thomas Frank's approach to it. Do you feel like he's having to protect the young players, or do you feel like you're saying, well, you know what, you're good enough to wear the shirt, you should be putting out more onto the pitch?
Yeah, but I do also think that Thomas Frank has been brought in. You know, it's been said many times by many pundits, many people who watch football week in, week out, that he is a tactical magician and he changes things. You know, surely he had to do a lot more in that game to change the game. And like I said, lack of creativity. We have gone from a forward line of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. And with no disrespect, we've now got Richarlison, Tell and Mawani, who it's like chalk and cheese. The quality difference is absolutely huge. Of course, Dominic Solanke remains out at the moment, and he is hugely missed. We brought Javi Simmons in, who we thought we were buying a ready-made player. Of course, during the summer, we thought we were buying Morgan Gibbs-White, then Eze, and then, of course, we've gone to Javi Simmons. It hasn't quite worked out yet. I can see glimpses in Javi Simmons, but he just seems to be so easily tackled right now. Some of the young players, of course, on Saturday, it was a shame that Lucas Bergvall got concussion so early on in the game. So, of course, that changed, what we were trying to do early on. But, you know, some of these players do need to step up. And I would say that Thomas Frank, his team selections, I don't think any of us can pick or predict his team selections. It's so random. And, you know, if you're going to bring on Christian Romero after 60 minutes, you might as well started him in such a high-profile game, because when I was watching the match, when looking down at Romero warming up, he was shouting. He was so animated on the sidelines. He obviously was kicking every ball from the sidelines and wanted to be involved from the very off, and probably should have been.
And you just touched on it there with Thomas Frank and what he was trying to do. And I think I know the answer to this. I watched the game. I was there. Nick was there watching the game. What do you think he was trying to do? Because I don't know whether it was Tottenham players individually just having such a collective bad day, or the lack of real pattern of play within there. Do you know how they were trying to hurt Chelsea? How they were trying to, other than maybe get it to Kudus?
Not really, no. And this is the worrying thing at the moment. So early on, we're 10 games in, and there are a lot of fans right now very frustrated with Thomas Frank. I'm not going to sit here and say that I want Thomas Frank gone, because we've gone through so many different managers and we've gone round in circles. And I just believe that he needs better players in his squad. But, you know, I don't want to be excited by a throw-in. And at the moment,
well, welcome to the Premier League.
yeah, certainly this season. But you know, we need to be more creative. We need to get players. You need to get the fans off the edge of the seat. And at the moment, within this team, without Mohamed Kudus, you know, you take him out of the team, we are lacking real quality in that final third area. And I'm trying to think where the goals are actually going to come from, and that is the big issue right now.
And you need goals tomorrow. You've got Copenhagen and another big Champions League match. And what do you think the atmosphere, and I don't want to be a doom monger, but if it doesn't go the way Tottenham expect it to, how do you think that's going to turn out after 90 minutes? If it's not what should be a home win, a convincing win?
Well, Thomas Frank has had, I think, 5 home games in the Premier League this season. I think there's been boos at 3 of them, and that is not a good start to your reign as manager at the football club. So, you know, this European record, as I said, you know, that does need to continue. The Manchester United game on Saturday, I think that's going to be a very difficult game. But Spurs need to put in a performance. They need to, give absolutely everything. And, you know, the fans spend a lot of money, take days off work. You know, even the Newcastle game in the Carabao Cup, 5,000 fans travelled up there. There were no trains coming back, so a lot of people had to stay up there. A couple of players tried to walk down the tunnel, not applaud the fans. That's not good enough. Fair play to Thomas Frank, whether it's a win, a defeat or a draw, he will always go and applaud the fans. And from what I'm told from a lot of Brentford fans, he used to do exactly the same there. But an absolute, performance needs to be given for the fans on Tuesday evening.
Well, I hope you feel a little bit better after that, Chris. Nick does. I hope the therapy sessions works, and I hope you have a more encouraging performance tomorrow night. Thanks very much for your time. We're off for the news now with Will Schindler. After that, more happy talk.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
With West Ham.
Cheers.
At 6:30 with the latest for London Police.